right. All right. So news is out here that the Dallas Cowboys are thinking about utilizing Sedarian CeeDee Lamb. That all goes together, right? As a slash running back slash slot guy slash this guy slash that guy. I'm going to tell you guys this. It does not matter where you put him. Put him anywhere on the field, he will elevate anything that's out there because we already know Amari Cooper is going to get some attention. We know that they're going to roll coverage. And we know what Michael Gallup does against pretty much second and third string DBs. So no thoughts, no hesitations, no miscalculations of what CeeDee Lamb can and can't do. I'm telling people right now, the boy hands is official or artificial basically. And on top of that, the way he run and go in and out of his breaks is pretty cool. I love him better at the top of his route, the way he gets separations and yards after catches, everything. I like the way we're going to utilize this particular guy within the confines of the system. Now, I do know that a lot of people have their reservations on this team as it relates to the quarterback. Just pump the brakes. Pump the brakes. I have to say this. Mike McCarthy is one of those guys that he's a quarterback whisperer. He understands that this team, yes, last year we was fantastic. We was wonderful as it relates to total yards. A lot of people will bring out the fake news as it relates to, hey, those yards were during garbage time. But when you do your research, majority of those yards came in the second and third quarter. So garbage time is not in the second quarter. Nobody just really walked into Dallas land and said, okay, we're just going to blow them out the wazoo in the first quarter. Nobody really did that. Of course, you can point at the Green Bay Packers game and maybe the Jets game. I digress. We can look at this team and say that Mike McCarthy looked at the overall special teams unit, looked at the overall defensive side of the team, and looked at the red zone. Those three categories there. If, I'm saying this with a capital IF, we improve on special teams, that makes us at least a plus win game, right? At least a plus one. One can argue a plus two. So instead of being 8-8, what are you now? 10-6, just by special team alone. Or if you improve on red zone efficiency. A lot of times people only look at one side of the coin and say, well, this team didn't do this team didn't do that. But I recall and I look back at many of times before 2 years ago, before 3 years ago, before 4 years ago, before 5 years ago, before 6 years ago, we had those same red zone issues. Newsflash, the person that's really was behind the gun or the person that was behind the wheel is gone. As it relates to red zone opportunities, that stuff is gone now. We got a whole new regime. I want people to understand that. I do. I really do. And on top of that, when we look at this team and we say, what can we improve on as it relates to the small ends on the defensive side of the ball? What was our issues with the defense? I've seen so many people. I've seen so many people post this and that about the defense, the turnovers and takeaways. We're not there. People were saying, yes, this defense, the hot boys, look out. We got one guy swiping. We got another guy, not turning his head around for the ball. All of that stuff should be gone. Or even the hot boys' name should be gone. But if they still want to use the name, that's okay. But we just have to prove it on the field now. It's time out for just sitting there saying, okay, we the Dallas Cowboys, doomsday defense, supposedly doomsday defense, we never play up to that level. Now we can look at it and say turnovers and takeaways. I went back and looked at some of the Saints game. I went back and looked at some of the Minnesota Vikings game. I even went back to look at how in the nature the front four for the Washington team played, And I went all the way back and look at some of the chemistry, what the 49ers had when they had Tom Sula there. And I'm saying aggressive tone is what happened. Not saying that the Washington team last year was the end-all, be-all, was everything because they had flaws throughout. But I can tell you their front four represented it. Or I can tell you about the Saints game, the way they linebackers and the way they played within the confines of their front four or front three, basically. It was pretty good. And Mike Nolan, I know he bounced around like a basketball. But I'm thinking that he got something to prove now. Like my little dog, little baby would say, something to prove. And we got a lot of things that we got to approve out here. And I really do think that Poe and McCoy, those two offseason acquisitions, as it relates to their front four, will be a dynamic situation. Even Aldon Smith. I know I've been saying this a lot, and it's good. Because if we can just continue to do what we have to do, then we can make it far. And not just there, not just there. I hear other news that the Kansas City Chiefs, and I'm not trying to bring them up into the equation because they're on the opposite side of the playing field, right? I want to say this. They talking dynasty talk already. They talking about it, which is good, which is cool, which is understandable. Let them talk about it. Let them feel all hype because they can gloat about it because, yes, they are the Super Bowl champs. But in order to shut down all of that dynasty stuff, we have to reclaim our time. We have to reclaim our spot. We have to reclaim our legacy. We have to reclaim everything. It's quite funny to me. The last time this team felt like we was doing something positive and felt like we really had that hope was when Bill Parcells was the head coach. That's going all the way back. When we kind of looked at it and saying, okay, even with the deck of cards that we got, it's not the best suit, but we winning games. We won 10 games with Quincy Carter. And then on top of that, we found a Tony Romo within the coaching tree or within the coaching, hand selection of Bill Parcells. Sean Payton went off and got him a coaching job somewhere. Zim, he went and got him a coaching job somewhere. That tree was dynamic. And now if we can rewind to this thing right here with Mike McCarthy, the reason why I like this because his words are weighted heavier than Jason Garrett. Why, Lord? He's just as vanilla. No, he got a Super Bowl ring. And I think that these guys really want to have that taste and that flavor too. And they're going to listen. And they're going to really want to get back to those graces. And it's time for us to reclaim our time. So, if you're watching this video, post in the comment box. Do you guys feel that we can be that it factor as it relates to the next team, the next flavor, the next sauce, the next team that really going to punch people in the mouth and do all types of crazy things as it relates to being out there on the field and wreaking havoc on the defensive side of the ball, on the special team side of the ball, even on the offensive side of the ball. And I love the fact that we got a CeeDee Lamb. And I love the fact that we got Amari Cooper, who's already sold in and bought in on this team. And I love the fact that now we can sit back and say, yes, 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 Blake Jarwin. I want people to know this right here. The quarterback best friend will always be the tight end. Let me repeat. Quarterback best friend will always be the tight end. We can go all the way back when we had the mighty Jay Novacek. Mr. Third Down, basically. That was the money down for Troy Aikman to Jay. Even if you go back to the 41ers, they had Brent Jones, right? Even Pat Mahomes got a Travis Kelce, who's doing his thing. Oh, Tom Brady had Gronk. The earlier days of Tony Romo had the young Jason with hair, you know. So we can go on and on with the quarterback being the best friend of the tight end or the tight end being the best friend of the quarterback. Go on and on and on about this type of situational talk. Not saying that the tight end is the end all be all, but we need that security blanket. We need that force action of having the defense to think on their heels. Do I kick in an extra linebacker? Do I remove that linebacker off the field? Do I bring in an extra DB? How do I control if it's in the deeper thirds of the route? Do we have the switch off correctly? In the meantime, they got to worry about that. And you got CeeDee Lamb just working his insides, also working around the outer edges. And you got Amari Cooper that's rolling coverages. You know, I'm going to say this for all of those who love boxing. You see, the reason why a boxer got to keep his head high because he's protecting the head, right? But the maneuver and the counter argument or the counter post to everything is that a good fighter trying to work his way into the inside. He's trying to get to the ribs. He's trying to get to those vital, necessary spots so that you can drop your guards. He's trying to get and work his way to the kidney shots to get you to swarm a little bit. And as he working his way into the inside, those hands, those guards, they dropping. And then he can focus and concentrate and knock you out with the haymaker. So, the Dallas Cowboys, we're going to work our way from the inside. Strategically, we're going to box you guys, put the opposition in a corner. And we're going to make sure that those guards are dropping. So when we punch you square in the face, it's out for the count, baby. If you like this message, man, I really appreciate everybody. Hit that like button, share this content. Let a friend, neighbor, foe know where to go when they want to tune in to Cowboy Sports Talk and Beyond. We are